All right, hey everybody. Hello, this is Comic Book Club. We are doing X Factor 92. I'm the Immortal Biggie Shack. I am uh, joined by Alan and Matt and Dee. And this week I picked the book. We are doing X Factor 92. What's that, boy? And somehow I lost the physical copy right before we started. But that's okay. I'm gonna do my review. I'm gonna show y'all what I think about it. So first thing you do, these guys are called the acolytes, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, you're joined by the acolytes, and they're going into like a hospital, and the nurse is kind of daintily dressed. She's pretty.
That's how nurses were dressed back then.
After all, there's a reason the fantasy exists.
Yeah.
So
Nurses used to be hot.
the acolytes are Magneto's little crew. They're very pro mutants, and mutants should take over, not like the X-Men or X Factor where they want to coexist.
Yeah.
Magneto's team's like, we are superior. We don't need those Earthlings.
Well, it's almost like they deify Magneto.
Hey, Biggie, I don't want us to miss a really important point. They did not break into a hospital. They broke into a hospice.
Yes.
That is where people go to die. So they have literally broken into a hospital that is designed for people that are on their last few days. So the nurses, the doctors that work there are like, they don't get that satisfaction of seeing someone make it out of
recovery.
There.
Yeah, it's a hospice. Yeah,
it is like one of the most selfless medical jobs you can have. Is
That's actually what my mom did.
Yeah, no, dude, it's taking honor in showing someone to their final days, and so they are really setting up in this scene just how evil the acolytes really are.
Yes. Yeah. So, as a young Biggie Shack collecting comics, this was before I really collected. What up, Bleeker, GT, and Collecto? Good to see y'all. I had like 10 comics, and this is one that I read over and over and over. And by the second page, you see what the acolytes are all about. They go in there, and he's got like this poison thing he adds to an IV, and this guy's like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna die!" And then this really jarring. This guy with the rope on fire, he just burns the shit out of that nurse. Like he wraps.
I know she's all mangled afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they show the aftermath of that. She's right here, and she's all burnt up. You know, it's like, oh my god.
And then she dies before the end of the book, eh?
Yeah, she dies like soon after. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see like the.
I think next page she dies. I think.
Yeah.
We're losing her. There, some pretty good box art examples here to kind of make something neat there. And then it looks like her spirit or something. I don't know what this was about exactly, but the spirit.
That's someone else. That's a different character.
That's just a mutant.
Isn't that a mutant of some sort? Not Kitty Pryde, but similar.
Similar idea, yeah.
Here's the acolytes in their submarine underwater.
But Biggie, you know what's funny? At first I thought the same thing. I thought, oh, it's the nurse's spirit. I really thought that too. So it wasn't that obvious, by the way.
Right. Now they're in like a big, neat submarine underwater, and they're doing their acolyte stuff, and he's pulling the bitch by her hair. And so the leaders, I think this is what's his name? Bad with names. Is this is Cyclops' brother, right? The blonde. Wouldn't that be
Havoc? You mean?
Wouldn't that be Havoc? Yeah.
Yeah, Havoc. Yes,
I think that's Havoc.
Yes,
got Havoc, a strong guy, and they caught one of the acolytes that was guilty. And the girl in the pink, is that Madeline Pryor or who the hell is that?
No, it's
That's the liaison. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. That's
the government. Like the leader. She's like Professor X's spot.
Yeah, but isn't she from the government as well?
She's the government. She's a secret agent girl. She's like I'm trying to remember her name.
Yeah.
It's slipping my mind.
So
But she doesn't have. She's not a mutant. She's just a human, like a regular human.
Yeah, she was in the X-Men '97 series too.
Okay, so she's just a regular chick that is like a government position.
Yeah.
She's kind of like telling them what to do, like an.
And there's a twist with her at the end where there's a little bit.
So the hairy Sasquatch looking guy's talking shit. Like, y'all ain't gonna do shit.
Her name is Val Cooper.
That's it, Val. Yeah.
Val. Yeah.
So the hairy guy's like talking shit, and Havoc ain't having none of it. He blasts him, and you see Strong Guy back there with the big old smile. He's like, "Hell yeah, smash him," you know. And she's like, "You can't do that. You got to chill out," you know, or whatever. That's not the way we do things here. So I really like this random character too. Whenever I was young, I was like, man, I need to get a first appearance of this random guy. He's back there behind Val. He's like, I'm coming with you guys. He's like,
he's random.
Yeah, I think his name's Random.
Yeah, that's his name. Is actually Random.
Yeah.
Right.
He has like a gun for an arm. I actually picked up his first appearance today. Believe it or not.
Oh, son of a bitch! I need to get it. What issue is it?
It's $2. It cost me $2 to get his first appearance.
What issue is it?
I think it was New Mutants something or something. I can send it to you later. It's New something,
Yeah,
like
I've
23 or something like that. 32 or something.
All right, so they're in like their helicopters. It's not a helicopter no more.
And
like
Val's first appearance is New Mutants 300 or something, or X-Men 300. Yeah.
So they're in like their version of the Thunderbird. They're like, this is like a spaceship for X Factor, I guess. And the chick that's kind of like Jean Grey, she's holding it together. And Skullman's like, chill out. We're like spearing around too much. And he actually
Isn't that Polaris?
Yeah, that is Polaris. Good point. And then this guy pops up. He's like Superman strength power. Like, I don't know who the fuck that is.
That's Exodus, I believe.
Exodus, yeah. He kind of shows up like the surprise character that nobody expected or something, you know?
Yeah, so I don't know anything about Exodus. All I know is this is his first appearance, and they never mention his name. He just like flies around and it's like, oh, okay.
Up in front of him, they're all like, oh shit, who is that? And then he disappears.
Yeah, it's like really weird. Okay.
Yeah, it's weird, but he looked like he could be like a formidable character, you know? Like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah. They thought he might pose a problem, but he just sort of chills and goes away.
As quick as he pops up, he disappears. He's gone.
Yeah, he gets 2 pages devoted to him.
So they get to the spot, and you kind of get to see there's Random looking cool as shit, and there's Quicksilver. And this is a cool ass team, man. This X Factor team is cool. And these robot guys, like about 10 of them, jump up with guns. And Quicksilver makes short work of them. He takes all of their guns. He's like, fuck you guys, I'm Quicksilver.
Yeah, so at this point, they're trying to go to this secret base that because they brutalize, like Cyclops threatens the guy, but when they see Quicksilver, he basically confesses everything to Quicksilver because he sees Quicksilver as like
no. Easy.
That's all like already happened. That's already happened.
No, I don't think it has.
No, it has.
Did I miss it? Well, let me say.
It's right when they are interrogating that guy.
Yes.
Quicksilver comes in, and he's like, "Oh, you're like Jesus, dude," because Magneto's God. And
okay, now Quicksilver.
Wow.
D, what the fuck am I going to do with these guys?
Oh no, man! Hey, you skipped over a bunch of shit, and they talked about the shit you skipped over.
I'm just saying stuff that happened already.
Thank you. All right. I'll thank you for reminding me. All right. So this is like
and that's why they're going to this secret base.
This is the best. Well, the reason they're going is because Val told them to fucking go.
Well, based on the information that this guy gave them.
All right. Well, this is what up, Wednesday? Good to see you. So this was back whenever he got smacked around by Havoc, and the hairy guy bows down to Quicksilver, and he says,
"That's what I'm saying.
The only begotten Son, the Almighty."
Jesus. What was he saying? Was I wrong?
I'm doing my turn,
and
you're fucking it up.
I'm sorry.
I don't think you get it. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So he bows down to him, and everybody's like, "What the hell was that?"
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we're back past all that. Thank you for reminding me, though. All right.
Okay.
So they're there. They take the guns from the guy. They take the guns from the robot, and then they get to like where they're going to, and Val's with them, and they click on the lights, and they're like, "Oh, an empty place or whatever." She clicks it. Random's like sees a keep out sign, and I love this splash right here. You see all of the cool ass Sentinels from the original to the Nemesis type Sentinels, and they're not like active Sentinels, but it's still a cool scene. Like you see all the cool Sentinels.
That threw me off so much. Like what the Sentinel
that was
just
cool,
being
actually.
there.
That was a cool scene.
So this is where Val is kind of like they're going to find out. I'm not sure why she told on herself, but she's kind of like, look, guys, I brought you here, and I shouldn't.
She throws up something.
She throws up something.
Yeah, there was a thing that was placed inside of her that she throws up, and then she tells them the truth.
Oh, I didn't know that part. Okay. And then it's just like she set him up for failure, man. Because then they get sabotaged. All the people come out, and they're all fighting. It's like all of the fucking acolytes, and it's like here we all are, and she's like, I should have never done this. This is horrible. Well, anyways, that's all Havoc had to see. He's like, yeah, let's go. And then randoms blasting. You get all this action, flares, random blasting. You got more action, the fire stuff. It ain't fucking with random. I really liked random in this episode. He's really cool.
Yeah, and he's pretty tough.
Yeah, so more action. Strong guy. He picks him up for some reason. I don't know. And then they're still fighting. Multiple Man does some cool stuff. Oops.
It's Maddox, right? Is Multiple Man Maddox?
Is that his name? Yeah, Maddox. And the lizard guy like claws one of them.
Well, I think the lizard guy kills all the Maddoxes or all the multiple guys except for one. It looked like, and he was gonna rip out his eyes. It was pretty brutal.
And I wonder if this is like the guy that was Angel's dad from the X-Men movie, but I don't know. Probably not. One of the congressmen, like one of the main ones, was with the Acolyte.
Oh, yeah.
And then you see they're kind of watching from the pier up on a ledge, all the battle going on. Quicksilver zipping around, taking care of business. Still fighting. You get this cool dialogue between Magneto and Quicksilver as this is going on a little bit. And this is where Val's like, I'm sorry, guys. I shouldn't have done that to you. This is where Alan said she puked. She pukes.
Yeah, she pukes up the gooey thing.
And she's bawling. She's like, I really fucked up. I shouldn't have done it to y'all. And still crying. And they all kind of turn their back on her. They're like, you're an asshole, you know? And the very last page is probably the payoff. And it's, behold, son of Magneto.
That's just a splash page. It's not really part of the story.
Yeah.
Well, you still
They've already said that he's the son way before this now.
Yeah.
No, the book ends with him walking away, calling her a flat scan. Like the next page is not part of the story at all.
Oh, so they didn't all realize, like, he didn't really get the whole.
No, they knew
he was. They all that he was his son.
All right, your turn.
Well, wait.
Oh, I gotta do my scores. That's right.
Put your scores.
Yeah, my score for the cover.
I think D's frozen.
He keeps on freezing and disappearing.
So for the cover, right here, I'm going to go a 3. I'm gonna go 3. 3. For the inside art, I'm going to go 3.5. 3.5. Story, I'm going to give it a 3.5.
we lost T.
And overall 3.25.
Okay.
25. All right. He might come back. He gets busy.
So I'll give my summary of it. So this is obviously part, like, I feel like when I was a kid, I used to remember people watching soap operas. Okay. And I just feel like when you sort of walk into a thing for the first time, you don't know anything about any of the characters, you don't know anything about the storyline, and you're walking in and some crazy stuff's happening, and it's like very discombobulating. I don't know, like just sort of you're sort of a fish out of water. That's how I felt reading this story. I felt like, who are all these characters? Half of them I didn't know. I knew Quicksilver, I knew Magneto, I knew Polaris, I knew a few of them, and it was kind of a little disjarring to be mixed in there and not. And then also there was a story that obviously happened before that I wasn't aware of. So I read this as a one, going in with one story, not with the whole thing. So that was kind of interesting, but I found that the artwork kind of didn't help with that as well. That you, like, just like that scene that you mentioned where there's that ghost that goes through the wall. I thought, well, is it the nurse that just died? Because they have the scene where the nurse dies, and then all of a sudden they do that scene. So at first it was like, oh, but then I realized it's a mutant. But it wasn't exactly obvious that because of the way the artwork was done. It was like a little bit all over the place. And then sometimes when they did the different bubbles, they would have the bubble that you're supposed to read kind of in the wrong location, where it's kind of like, oh, I got to read that bubble to understand what they're talking about. And it was just, I found a little hard to read in a way. So I felt like, who are all these characters? Little disjointed in terms of stuff happening. Yeah, and because I had at least good knowledge of the X-Men, I knew kind of the Sentinels. Oh, that's pretty jarring to see the Sentinels, that they found this hidden base of the Sentinels. I thought, I didn't really understand why Val was so upset that they, that basically she, brought them to this place. They were going to go to that place regardless of what she did anyways, because the guy confessed to telling them to go there anyway. So it didn't really make any difference. And why were they so upset with her? Obviously, she had been taken over in some way where something was put inside of her. So, you'd think they would understand her a bit more. I thought they were a little bit overreacting. Also, I felt like the artwork, very 90s artwork. I really felt like, oh, everybody's like super, there's almost, that also created a little bit of confusion. Like Strongman looked like Strongman. He was like, he was unique. A lot of the other characters kind of looked a lot like each other. And that added to the confusion of who are all these characters. Now, one thing that they did do kind of well, I guess, was they kept on referring to certain characters by their name, and so you'd say, okay, they're referring to this person, so that kind of helped. But just so you know, it was a little hard to go in. I kind of wish that if you ever watch like anime, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, if you watch that, what they always do at the very beginning of the show is they have like that little almost like a trailer where they say, oh, water, air, they explain the backstory, and then you watch the episode, right? I almost felt like this comic needed that, where you need that little bit of backstory to understand what exactly is happening, because I feel like you're just thrown into just chaos. So that's my rant there. Sorry about that. But here's my grades. I actually grade the cover quite high. And the reason I grade it high is I really do like the fact that they stuck a hologram card on the cover. It is just so classic 90s gimmick. It just, and that little bit of nostalgia to my...
In the time period where the Marvel gimmicks were really at the
at the peak, the piece de resistance.
The Ron Perlman years.
It's a funny, it's kind of a classic thing. These hologram things, it made me actually, after reading this, I actually went out and bought like a 9/8
The book
slab
was
of
so
this
bad
book.
you wanted to buy a bunch of them.
Yeah, I wanted to get a bunch of them because I thought it was kind of cool and it was very nostalgic for me. So, I give the cover a 3.5, which is actually pretty high considering. Now, the interior art, I'm a little bit more critical of. I'm going to give that a 2.5 just because of that. I'm not a big fan of the 90s muscles on muscles thing. And all the characters, I wish they were a little bit more defined a bit. The writing, I'll give that a 2. Again, just because it felt like they were really focused on action. A lot of stuff happens, but really, if you think about it, really not much happens at the same point. It's like a lot happens, but not much happens. It's really weird.
Had some of the better box art panels as of all of the comics we've seen. Actually, if I look at all the ones we've seen, this has had some pretty good, like the girl getting burnt.
I in a weird way, I agree and disagree at the same time. So what I think is they really try to make the panels dynamic. I would give that, like, where it's like, oh, like all this kind of cool thing, but in a way, it's almost a distraction. It kind of takes you away from being able to understand what's happening. So it kind of worked against it. It was like a good effort, but poor execution, I guess, maybe. So that's why I gave it sort of a low score there. Overall, I'm going to give this book a 2.5. Okay. So a bit critical on it. It is a classic 90 book, but 90s book, but I'm a little bit harsh. Okay, so that's my opinion.
That was good. Good job.
Okay.
Well, actually, Alan, to follow up, it to me, it's the perfect example of what a 90s book is.
Mm-hmm.
It's one you can hold up and say, guess what decade? And everybody will be able to say.
And the hologram card just puts that.
Like, yeah, I know. It puts that extra piece on it. One thing I would agree about the art with the muscles on muscles. The other part I don't like is the way shoulders were drawn on women. Oh. They were all wearing those, I'm going to take out an eye.
That was the way it was back then.
Shoulder pads. Yeah.
The shoulder pads. No, I remember the fashion. It's like,
bad fashion. I hated that fashion, by the way.
You throw in with the curly fuzzy hair and
the 80s poofy hair, but the shoulder pads, right?
However, that's neither here nor there. What I did like about the book that nobody else has mentioned so far is, okay, at least with Quicksilver, they had some serious characterization there of a guy who was trying to be good, trying to change by flipping back and forth between flathead and person, and so using racist language and trying not to. Mm-hmm. You could tell he was actively trying to be a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a part of the character that I like, because Quicksilver forever has always been sort of one of those, one of those, like, he's a good guy now, but he's like this close to being a bad guy.
Well, this one had that too.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, this is very consistent with his character across the years. So I like that part. What I found hard was to follow who was saying what. And part of the other problem was that there were not enough people saying characters' names.
I thought they did that a fair amount, though.
Not enough. I found that in a lot of the situations where the names came up, these were on pages where you weren't quite sure who was saying what.
Yeah, who was being referenced. Yeah.
So I wasn't able to tell necessarily, because a lot of these people I've never heard of.
Me too.
I know 3 guys in the book: Magneto, Quicksilver, and Havoc. Those were the only 3.
Fucking Strong Guy or Polaris?
No, I didn't know Polaris.
Oh,
really?
Shit.
Polaris is like that famous cover,
I know, but I've never read a lot of X-Men / xfactor / whatever. It was something that never appealed to me.
Okay.
So in this book, though, was an interesting story. But and to be honest, when I realized they were attacking a hospice, I wanted to go into the book and like just you evil person. How dare
they
you?
were really trying to
Yeah,
accentuate the
it
illness.
really did hit me in the emotionals there on that one. It's that, but again, that was just these are the interesting points on the good side. On the bad side, again, the not being able to tell, and it almost felt like right out of left field that the girl had a confession to make, not knowing what they set up, like not knowing the backstory and all that stuff. To me, it was suddenly, oh yeah, I can't live with this anymore. So here's my confession.
Yeah, it was
And
really
it
weird.
seemed a little,
Well, she puked out that thing, and then
yeah,
that way.
it seemed a little. Well, the plot is dying now, so let's do this one. So I will get to my scores because really, there's not a lot more that I could say that hasn't been said already.
Just one quick question, like to the group. I just maybe you guys figured this out, but why did they attack a hospice?
Just to be like as evil as they could and take out humanity and show that they're evil fuckers. I think. What do you think, dude?
I would think it's to show that nobody was safe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No compassion.
Yeah. So Collecto was saying this earlier. Like, it may have been almost an insensitive way to write it. You can show someone being evil without having them stoop that low.
Yes, exactly. And maybe that's why they had them stoop that low to show that they
it
were.
Didn't even make sense to stoop that. Like, okay, how about kill a bunch of kindergarten kids if that's what they really. My point is like I didn't get the motivation. Like I just didn't like it didn't make sense. Like it didn't seem like a military target. It didn't seem like a it didn't make sense to me.
Hey, so here in the U.S., you guys may remember the story too, but it was shortly after 9/11. We had the Washington D.C. area sniper.
Yes,
going around terrorizing it. Yeah. And one day they literally go on the police chief gets on the in front of the media and says, "Hey, it's still safe to go to school. Your kids are okay." And he tried to reassure everyone. The very next morning, that sniper shot a kid waiting at a bus stop. And I feel it's the same type of message. Like, no one here is safe. You are all, no matter how little of a threat you are to us, you are a threat because you're not immune. And they just went all the way into it.
Okay, I can respect that.
And I don't know why my head went to that, but I mean, I'm trying to think like the most evil. Yeah.
Yeah, no. It makes sense. If you want to demonstrate that humans are all vulnerable no matter where they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now for the cover, I found it a little busy. But the art on the cover was better than the art on the inside. So I will actually give the cover a 3 because I will agree with Alan. The little hologram made it interesting.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for like those things.
So I will give the cover a 3. I will give the interior art though only a 2, and mostly because that particular style of 90s is not my favorite. There are some 90s artists I like. I just didn't like this book. For that, the writing, I give them 2.5 due to the fact that parts of it were good, but parts of it were a little hard to follow. And part of me was wondering, is it hard to follow because I'm an idiot, or is it hard to follow because I didn't catch the stories from before? There wasn't a lot to go on.
I'd say bit of both.
The bit about the bit about Quicksilver being Jesus, felt forced a little bit because they could have made it more realistic by making him more like a Queen of England, King, Prince of Wales situation rather than going God and Jesus, because it felt a little too much to like religious allegory there.
Yeah.
See, when I was a kid and I found out before I was a collector, so it was very shaking to me. It was like, oh fuck, this guy is related to Magneto. I didn't know about X-Men 1. I didn't know about X-Men 4. I didn't know about any of that shit. I just saw this and I was like, oh, that is crazy. But go ahead, continue.
And the last thing I will say, overall, I would give the book a 2.5 as well. It's a decent book. For those that are fans of the X world, it's probably a really good book. I myself found it a little hard to follow, but overall, for a 90s book, it's right in the middle. So 2.5.
Sweet. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Biggie, I'm glad you picked this book, man. One of my favorites. I'll tell you, like I'm in the middle. Like Steppo mentioned that he kind of hates that they used hospice as a plot device, and I can get why that's jarring. But at the same time, I really think they were just trying to demonstrate how absolutely
Evil they are.
devoid of compassion. It's not there. If you're a human being, like, you literally do not matter in any way, shape, or form. Just the same way that. Am I frozen again?
Yeah, you're frozen, but we hear you. We hear you.
All right. Well, then I'm frozen again. That's what's up. All right. So.
But we hear you. That's all that matters.
Yeah. No, that's good. But yeah, that to me was that made me feel a certain way. I kind of agree with Steppo on that. I really liked the term. Hey, can we make me a little smaller so I'm not frozen on the big screen?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. I also I really liked the way they kept using the term flat scans.
Yeah,
like they had this like racial terminology for it. I enjoyed that.
So, can you explain that to me? The term, like, what is it? Why they refer to humans as flat scans? That they don't show any like.
I think it means that they're already dead.
That's what I thought. I interpreted it that way too. That they. Yeah. Okay, I was wondering if I was right in that interpretation. Because
I can't confirm that, but I also didn't put a lot of time and thought into it either. But I think it's because they're already dead. Yeah. The scene where X-Factor is fighting against the Acolytes was my favorite part of the book, especially the multiple man fight where they're showing that one creature is like gouging out his eyes, and he jams his hand into its mouth and then slams his fist down, and he literally spawns a duplicate from inside of her body, or its body. Which I just think was really, really cool. Senator Kelly was in the background doing some shit. But I also agree. Yeah.
I do know.
And I do agree.
He is the one from Angel. He is Angel's father, right?
I think so.
No, he's not Angel's father.
Oh, he's not. Okay, I thought so.
No. But I also agree. I agree with the idea that they were a little too hard on Miss Cooper towards the end. She literally was able to prove that she was being controlled by an evil creature. But here's the deal: like, there is more to it. It's not that they were going to go there anyways. That was the plan all along, was to take them there. That confession was a plan to bring them to this base where the Sentinels were. So she did play along with that, and that's where she did have. I don't think she had anything to answer to because she was being controlled. It was not in her ability to stop herself. But at the same time, like.
But I mean, if you look at it, Quicksilver went there on his own because the guy told him to go there, right? So. That's why I was like confused that it was not such a big deal, really.
Well, but that guy was also like was probably in on it. Thing like it was.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's totally a trap, but.
So Val Cooper and that guy, it was a plan between them and all of them.
Oh, we lost D altogether. Are you still there,
Oh,
D?
I am here.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
You can hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, good. No, but they at the end of the day, they were still very harsh with Val. It was, but I like the book. So let's go. I'll give you my scores here. The cover, I'm only going to give it 2.5. Super busy cover. It would have been even lower for me, but I liked how all the Fatal Attraction covers had that bar on the right hand side of the cover with the hologram. So it would have been a 2 or a 1.5 if it wasn't for
nice.
The bar with the hologram. Then interior art, I didn't hate it as much as you guys. I'll give that a 3. I'm okay with the 90s art because that's when I started reading comic books. So nothing here offended me. Nothing here lacked detail or didn't tell the story that they were trying to tell. So I'm good with all the art. So I'll give the art a 3. The story I will give a 3.5. I love the Fatal Attraction storyline so much. And I know it left you guys with a little bit of don't quite know what's going on feeling once in a while. That'll go away when we read next week's book, X-Force 25, the next issue in the series.
Okay.
We're gonna watch. We're reading what? Sorry, X-Men.
X-Force
25.
So X-Force 25 is the next hologram card cover.
It is. It is the next one in the series. So
it's good that you bought them all, Alan. It's good that you got every one of them. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
well, if it's a direct continuation, I will understand it better.
Oh, it is. It is a direct continuation. It is the very next issue in the series.
The only problem is it goes from X Factor to X-Force, so it will be a batch of characters that you probably don't know much
now,
about.
This was another 90s thing where they were trying to like force you to read multiple titles.
Well, this is one of the rare times it worked because the story.
That's why they did that with the Superman. With the Triangle Years, every week there was another Superman book that continued, and there were 5 total because they wanted to cover that 5th week in those months. So they did a quarterly that covered those 5th weeks with the Man of Tomorrow.
You gave us a book before the overall. Sorry,
my overall is going to be a 3.
All right.
Okay, so strong.
Yeah, no, I enjoy it. Well, strong, but it goes out of 5, so it's not like I gave it a.
It's not like a 5. It's
a 4.5 or anything. You know, it's a 3.
Okay.
But I also looked through this with some rose-colored glasses. I love this storyline, and it's I'm looking forward to reading the next issue.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to reading it again.
And that don't put any pressure on the guy after D to pick a book. If you guys want something else, it's completely fine.
we can do all the hologram card covers. So D's back. I can see D again.
Ah, it's me. It's D.
Perfect.
So there was one thing that we didn't mention that we should probably mention that was kind of interesting, and that when Quicksilver kind of walks away, he refers to Val as a flatliner.
Yes.
A flat scanner. I mean, flat scanner.
Keep
on to say flatliner because that's the movie, you know, I'm not sure if you're familiar. But
yeah, Flatline, that's the with Flatliners. That's the Julia Roberts
movie.
Sunderland.
Yeah. But yeah, he refers to Val as flat scanner. So which means that he's now seeing humanity the way that those acolytes see humanity, which is not a good thing.
Well, he was that's what I was saying. He's on that teetered edge. He's trying to be good, but it won't take much to get him back on the bad side.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of letdown that would lead to that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel like, oh, screw you, you just betrayed us.
All right, I'm just kind of tabulating scores.
Is D frozen? D looks like he's frozen.
I'm frozen. Can you at least hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, we can hear you at least, yeah.
Man, I don't know what the hell is going on tonight.
So out of 80, we got a 47.75. So it's one of the lower scoring books.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, that's high for 90s.
I like 90s a lot.
You know what? I'm probably going to end up giving X-Force 5 a better
25, yeah.
Or because X-Force 25, just because now that I have some background, I
have a feeling too. Yeah.
So that's always a big deal to me, knowing a little bit of what's going on before. And I've always been that way.
Have you read X-Force 25 before, Big?
It's one of the holograms that I haven't had yet. So I think my shop has it though, and I'll get it.
Yeah, it's like a dollar bin book.
Oh yeah, I think the problem is I won't be back to my comic store until next Wednesday.
Well, I'll send you a link. I can find online all these things. I never read the physical copies.
I was talking to D, and we was talking about proposing what we're going to do for club on this show, and my nomination was that me and Alan have a spec debate.
Oh, okay.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, because we're both nominated for spec, and we can kind of like debate why our spec is better.
Sort of like a presidential debate for comic book awards ceremony thing.
Yes. Yes. And if we have enough people on, we'll do some battles, but there will be a 2 or 3 round debate. We'll take turns going first.
Okay.
Should we set the topics now? 1, 2, and 3.
Actually, what we should do is you and I don't set the topics. We have it as a debate about spec, but the other members get to, be the moderators, and they can ask whatever random questions they want to ask.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah. So I'm going to wear my pearl earrings that day.
Oh, I'll be
I'm not sure if you guys heard that thing.
I haven't. I thought you were just joking about what's her name.
Yeah, that's about Kamala Harris. See, the pearl earrings are like they're
a two-way radio where they were feeding her answers. Yeah.
Oh.
They said that about Justin Trudeau in the last election too.
He should have worn pearl earrings, but actually they're exactly the ones that this company said. Hey, they're like, she wearing her earrings. It's like really funny.
Yeah, I'm not an X Factor fan, but for some reason that book seemed like a fun one for me. I like the way their team was. I like the way the strength of the characters. Now the acolytes, I couldn't get to know them on a personal level like I could the X Factor team.
So for me, I don't even know who's in these teams. I don't really know. I wouldn't be like, oh, the team, blah, 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 blah. I wouldn't even know.
I couldn't name one person from the acolytes.
Well, the main villain of the acolytes is Fabian Cortez.
Okay.
And really, like, he is manipulating the other acolytes, and he's manipulating Magneto. Yeah. He's really kind of
like that guy. If that's the guy I'm thinking of, he sure is looking like that.
Yeah,
master manipulator.
Yeah, I would think that's the weakest part of the book is you don't get to understand who the acolytes are that well, but you do understand that they're evil shits, and you want X Factor to win. You're like, let's go X Factor.
And who's the guy with the whip? The
Senyaka.
Yeah, I picked up his first appearance too.
Damn.
I think I already had it. I think that's in X-Men 300.
Oh,
dude's into first appearances.
Yeah, we read a story. You gotta have them all, man. I understand that.
That's just my personality.
I think I've tried to get random before, so it's not that tough.
I picked up random and I picked up Strongman's first appearance. Those were the two I didn't have before.
Strongman's whenever they switch from New Mutants to X-Force or something like that.
I don't know. I don't know much about these characters.
Is it the one with the new? Oh yeah, we'll figure it out later. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all coming on, and we got our topic for Friday night. There will be a debate on speculation. Me and Alan will defend our speculatorial content, and everybody else, the moderators, are going to give us our topics. So there's a lot of swing with the moderators. We're going to be able to give us a topic as we go. Hopefully you guys don't come up with like some weird ass topic for us, but we'll see how it goes.
But it should be about speculation, guys.
I hope so.
I want you to speculate about books with guys with mushrooms for brains.
Yeah, no.
No, it should be like, I'd be like, why and what do you like about your spec and shit like that. But you guys can
or say, what do you think is a good spec? Do you think whatever Silver Age or Bronze Age books are good, or blah blah blah, where do you think the market is going? Stuff like that would be the kind of questions I would think.
Who would you choose as the form of the guy who's going to destroy humanity? Not the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah, I would have picked some like I'm like into my good girl stuff. I'd have like this giant sexy woman, like Yeah, that'd be so funny.
Well, seriously, before we got out of here, I appreciate you all putting up with my nonsense and playing comic books with me. So we're going to get on out of here.
Oh, it's fun to play comic books. I'm just glad you invite me.
I mean, we come up with some bullshit. You guys have any ideas, you let me know, man. I'm just winging it. All right, guys, we're out of here. That was X Factor 92.
Big Biggie. Biggie. Biggie.